Hey, this is Stephen Amell, and you are listening to Tomorrow's Legends, the podcast. Don't fail your city.
When the danger becomes more than one hero can handle, when enemies rise beyond one city and threaten the entire world, a team must gather together to battle the odds. A team of extraordinary heroes. And that team will call themselves the Justice League.
Yes, hello, legendary leaguers. Don't worry, this isn't the alternate world we're recording from, and I'm not the alternate Flash. Otherwise, Harley Nextforce would be without me. You know, that Flash is no longer among us. But then again, I may have to ask these two some very specific questions just to ensure they are who I think they are. I am the very watching you Flash.
And I'm Harley Quinn, but you never know who came back from DragonCon. So.
Uh-oh.
And I'm charging up the Green Lantern's ring because he's going to need it in this fight. I'm X-Force 11.
Damn right.
Hello, legends.
Hello, Gideon. Are you the real Gideon, or are you the fake Gideon? Like, we need to make sure we got the right people here.
Yes, Captain.
Okay, good. Tomorrow's Legends is what you're listening to, and we are talking about Justice League, and tonight it is Season 2, Episode 11 and 12, called A Better World. It all began with Legends of Tomorrow and Stargirl and Superman and Lois and X-Men 97 and Jupiter's Legacy of Tomorrow People and the upcoming Lantern series. Maybe I don't have to say all that anymore. We have like 3 people listening to us. They know what we've done.
We might have some new people this week.
Possibly, yeah. I'm only referring to our feedbackers. We got our three traditional fellas that are with us every single week. So, yes. But also on the network is Dive into DC, and that's Silver Fox and Green Butterfly, and they are covering Sandman Season 2. That's what's next on their list. And then The Mandalore Star Wars on Disney Plus is what we cover over there. And again, we're still in hiatus, so check out those other shows on the networks. But man, you got lots. If there's lots of people coming on over, I know Jess is going to talk all about DragonCon shortly here. So if she handed out some business cards or met a lot of people, you guys are tuning in, hello, and thank you for being with us. We've got a lot on the show, a lot on the network in our history. We've been doing this for 10 years, so check out our catalog of back stuff. Lot going on.
Judge us. Yeah, and don't judge us too harshly for our early episodes.
Yeah, if you start with Legends of Tomorrow of Episode 1, yeah, it'll be, yeah. That was 10 years ago when we were just starting out. But
that'll be fun.
It's progress.
It's pretty fun, yeah. The show has grown lots. But anyways, let's move on. We got some news to get into. Let's get to the news.
We interrupt this podcast for a special report.
All right, so we've reported that Garrett Dillahunt will be on Lanterns, and he, among several others, are people that were given like aliases and roles that may be something else. And so this week he may have tipped his hand at who he may be, and that role could be the Black Hand.
He may have tipped his black hand. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. So the Black Hand is like a wealthy guy, but he becomes an expert criminal, evades the police, like he speaks in these old cliches, kind of breaks the fourth wall, and he's one of Hal Jordan's like rogues here.
Oh, okay.
And so he has life force and power ring absorption. So like he built a device that like would collect Green Lantern energy from any object that it had touched, and then he could use that to do his, use his own thing like a Green Lantern ring. And then in later comics, he becomes a Black Lantern and one of the Death Lanterns. And so it's got a very interesting history with Green Lantern there. So, pulling in one of those lesser known maybe rogues. So
that's pretty cool though. Absorbing residual energy and then being able to turn it back on them. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And a black ring, like what's the power of Black Lantern rings? What are they based on? Death or fear or something? Death.
Yeah.
Right, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Cool.
Makes me want to pick up some of the comics, and I don't know. I literally don't know where I would start, but
Yeah. There's got to be a collection that kind of gathers all the essentials to sort of tell you the history of everything. There's got to be something like that out there.
Yeah. Sometimes they do collections like that about a particular one. I know back in the day, I picked up, some of the collections that were Green Lantern and Green Arrow working together. So, and some of the ones with Flash too. So,
Yeah.
nice.
All right. Well, Jess, he has got a Dragon Con story to tell us, I guess. How the weekend went, or the week went, because Dragon Con's there for quite a few days.
It's a 5-day event now. Like, it is crazy.
All right.
Okay,
Well,
so what?
I was going to say, what panels, because you moderated some panels, so what panels did you get to do? What was the turnout like? Yeah,
I did.
Just tell us.
Okay, so I was on 4 different, we call them fan panels. So it's basically where like 4 of us, or sometimes 5 of us, I don't know, there's several of us that kind of sit on the panel and we kind of chat. It's kind of like a live podcast. I mean, Martin, you've done these like with like The Mandalore, except like instead of it like just being you and like playing music and like having like the podcast like live, we're just kind of like sitting on the panel and we just kind of have a discussion. So I was on Superman the New Movie podcast, which I know you've been dying to get my thoughts on that.
Yeah, you watched it before you got there. Finally,
of course.
Right? Yeah, okay.
I watched it the night before I left. I mean, we can talk about Superman the movie later, but I did actually kind of enjoy the movie.
Okay.
So
good.
we'll talk about that one later. And then there was Clark and Lois, like through the ages, like iconic couples. So we literally rated like all the different iterations of Clark and Lois. We skipped animation for time. This panel went 10 minutes over, because apparently we all have a lot to say. And so that was super fun. You'll be very happy to know that Tyler and Bitsy won for TV.
Yay!
And I think for movie, I want to say the new Superman and Lois slightly edged out someone. I don't remember. I think we decided that the new Superman, Clark and Lois together, won out of all of the iterations of the movies. Because we were finding that most of the Loises were just kind of like, there's just like something about them. There was either like one note, or there like wasn't a good chemistry between like Clark and Lois. Anyway, so that was fun. But yeah, Tyler and Bitsy were the standouts. Everybody loved them. Everybody pretty much unanimously agreed that they're amazing and the best. And so that made me very happy, because I was worried I was going to have to argue for that. I did not get on the Superman and Lois panel that discussed season 4.
Oh, man.
I was a little bit sad about that. But they did put me on the new movie Superman panel, and that was a fun discussion. Although we didn't cover, we didn't even talk about Lois on that panel at all. Like, it was crazy.
I'm surprised, like, you cover the show for 4 seasons. How do you not get the panel to talk about Superman and Lois?
So,
That's so strange.
There's a lot of, it's hard to explain. So like in Dragon Con, everything is kind of grouped by what are called tracks. And one of the bigger ones is called American Sci-Fi and Fantasy Media. And so they have so much programming. And I think a lot of times year after year, the lady that runs the track, I think she just tries to vary like who gets on the panels. And I've been on the Superman and Lois panel for the last 2 or 3 years. So I think she just wanted some new voices, but she put me on 2 other Superman panels, so I kind of can't argue with that. And I did, and since I was on Clark and Lois, I got to gush about Tyler and Bitsy, so I was okay with that. I also was on a Severance panel. I don't know if anybody's watching Severance. Yeah, they actually did 2 Severance fan panels. Kevin, the podcast overlord, he moderated the other panel, not the one that I was on. And apparently we had 2 like literally completely separate discussions.
Wow.
It's fascinating. But I don't know if anybody out there, if you've followed Kevin or any of his stuff for a very, very long time, his co-host from the Farscape podcast, Lindy Ray, was who moderated 2 of the panels I was on, actually. She did the Superman movie and she did the Severance one. So that was really cool to meet her. And she's like, oh, yeah, you know, she said something about Kevin. I was like, oh, I know Kevin, like, super well. She's like, yeah, so do I. And so it was kind of funny. We kind of had, like, an instant connection. So that was super fun. And then I did Foundation. So if you're watching Foundation on Apple TV, that is always a ton of fun. Like that was a fun discussion because we were competing with some super popular things at the time the panel was. We did not have a good turnout for that panel, which is really sad, but the people that were there were very passionate about it. So that was super fun. And my panelists I've spoken with them several times before. So they are awesome. And it was really fun.
Cool.
So so unfortunately none of that stuff really gets recorded, although I will say the Superman movie panel, I'm pretty sure Michael Bailey, he runs a very long-standing Superman podcast that is, the name is escaping me right now, but he might email Martin, he might email us whenever he gets that podcast posted, but I don't know, we might get some people that come over from that, or we, once I remember the name of it, if you Google Michael Bailey, he'll probably come up. He's a huge Superman guy. So he did record that Superman movie panel. So that is going to be out there somewhere.
Cool. That'll be good.
Yeah. So that was fun. Then, I mean, I made it to a couple of we call them guest panels. That's where the actual actors are on the panels.
Mm-hmm.
There were 2 Arrowverse ones. I did not get to the one with Emily Bett on it, but I did get. I know, but the one that I saw had Mikhail. I can't remember his last name. The guy who's Black Lightning, and John Barrowman, Brandon Routh, Paul Blackthorne. Oh my gosh,
what a mix!
David Ramsey.
Yeah.
And Fortress of Bailey, dude. Yes, him. That guy. That is him.
Okay.
Sorry, that's the guy that's going to have the Superman podcast. So yeah, that's the same guy. But it was a really great panel.
Cool.
Those ones, like those guest panels, if you are interested, you could always you can buy what's called a DragonCon TV membership, and that's how you can watch them. So if you were interested in watching stuff like that, I think if you buy any current year, you get access to not only the current year but years past. And it's not very expensive. I think it's like $15 or $20. And you can watch all those panels. So those are I only went to a couple because I'm also volunteering there. So a lot of my time goes towards actually putting on the con. So
yeah, it's a busy weekend for sure.
It's so busy.
Voluntarily, I mean, you're working 14-hour days a lot of the times.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah. Sleep is a luxury.
Yeah, but it is still like a mini holiday. You're gone for a few days, getting to do what you love, right? So.
Oh yeah. No, it's awesome. Yeah. I get 5 days where I literally don't have anything else to worry about except what I'm supposed to be doing for DragonCon. So
yeah, it's fun.
100% recommend.
Well, I still remember because we were talking about sharing stories the last time you and me were there. It's just fun. I remember what those panels are like and wandering around the different hotels and the whole convention center and the people. And for those of you who've never met Harley in real life, she's really short. And
I am.
When we get lost in a crowd of thousands of people, we were basically hanging on to each other for dear life because you're sandwiched in like sardines. And I just remember grabbing each other by the shoulders or the backpack straps, and we're just weaving our way through. It's just crazy.
Yeah. I feel like crowd management has improved in the last 10 years, but there is a lot of people. A lot of people.
It's amazing, yeah. Oh my God. I mean, never mind COVID, but what if a zombie apocalypse broke out? What if anything like that ever happened?
Oh my gosh. I mean, so many people have left with all kinds of, COVID, you name it. I thankfully did not get sick yet this year. Yeah, con cred is usually what we call it. Yeah. But yeah, same thing. I did get COVID last year from DragonCon. So thankfully, so far, I seem to be doing pretty good.
Seem to be all right. Well, fun stuff. Glad you had a good time, and it's always enjoyable. I did see some of the pictures. I saw you and Kevin, so that was cool.
Yeah.
And Kevin did post a picture with him and Emily Bett, so lucky bugger.
Yep.
I
know. He got to moderate that panel.
Yeah, I was so jealous. I mean, looking at him up there, I'm like, They don't call him the podcast overlord for nothing.
No. Oh, man.
No, yeah. No,
Well.
yeah. He, in like Dragon Con world, he is considered one of the pro moderators.
Yeah.
They don't let me talk to real people. They just let me do the fan stuff.
Yeah, the fan stuff.
Yeah. I did one year, and then after that year, not because of me or anything that I did, but after that year they went to just pro moderators for the con. So
You know, though, we all could literally give Kevin a hard time and just razz the crap out of him, because why does he get to run the Arrowverse panels? Because he legitimately quit Arrow 4 seasons in. He's like, I'm done with the show. I hate it. Don't want anything to do with it anymore. I'm out of here. And he quit Arrow Squad, and that's when I took over.
that's right. I forgot
And
about that.
I did it for I did it for season 5 to 8. So
Yeah.
really, should he have all the power to get all the Arrowverse panels when he gave up on the show and gave up on all of it? I don't know.
In his defense, it's not just the Arrowverse panels. He was doing like the Winona Earp panels, and he's a director for the Urban Fantasy track.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I mean, he's put in his dues. He's been going to DragonCon for like 20 years or something crazy.
I'm gonna give him a call and say, you need to get me on one of those panels with you up there, because I have just as much time in Arrowverse as you do.
Yeah, that is tough. I will say he
funny.
put in his dues for long enough that they do let him be a pro moderator.
Yeah.
They sort of just like shoved me on stage with, I think it was Jason. I think I told you guys about this, with Jason O'Mara a couple of years back. Literally could not be a nicer guy. Like, he was so super sweet. I was about to pass out, but it was great. It was fine. He did most of the talking, because people aren't there to see me; they're there to see him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, sounds fun. Check out Harley's pictures if you're connected with her on social media, or look. I think she posted a few on our Legends page. So
Yeah, I think I posted a few. I did a photo up on like my personal Facebook, but I know I'm only connected with like a few people because I gotta feel like I can trust you.
Yeah.
I post stuff. I post my kids
Yeah,
on
exactly.
my Facebook and Instagram. So, but I can. There's a few. I mean, my kids are not in any of these pictures, so I can I can put them in our on the Tomorrow's Legends page for sure.
put a few of the fun ones, yeah, for sure. I mean, when you talk about keeping your privacy a little bit, I mean, we do have a few people who have known us for a lot of years and we trust them, but we are still podcast hosts and there's hundreds of people all around the world listening to us. We can't, you have to separate that from your personal life a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we're in a way we're minor celebrities of the podcast world in our own right. So
I know, which always like feels weird, but it is kind of true. Although no one has ever come up to me and been like, "Oh my gosh, you're you."
yeah,
So Karen, my former Gotham Undercover co-host, her tagline is obscurely famous.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
She actually doesn't live that far from me. Speaking
Oh, no?
of in real life, no, unless she's moved again. But she does not. She does not live very far from me. But I never knew her very well, so I didn't. I'm not like, hey, we should get together because we didn't really know each other that well. So
I never actually met her either. But if you think about it, when we all began, when we were feedbackers in the beginning, I mean, we looked up to the podcast hosts and kind of thought like, these people are like podcast celebrities because they're doing a show and I'm listening to it. So essentially, it's an audio celebrity in that sense. But it has happened. Like it has happened because I've been doing the Mandalore live now at the Calgary Expo, and people are starting to show up and they want their picture with me because I'm the host of the show.
So cool.
So that's where I'm like,
that.
oh my God, I'm actually have some type of recognition. It's kind of fun.
That's so cool. I love it. Yeah. No, one of the guys on my foundation panel, he's an author. He does like sci-fi work. I'm like, I need to like look up your stuff and like buy your books. 'Cause I bet I would like them. So he's pretty cool.
Well, good stuff. All right, before we get on to the show, we found something.
Letters lost in the timeline.
Mr. Perry White is getting something into us about Justice League last week, episodes 9 and 10. Here he is.
Hey, Legends. Perry here with some pre-show feedback for Hearts and Minds, because, I don't always fully make my deadlines. My bad. So I got 3 takeaways from the episode. First is, I absolutely respect GL, but he absolutely dropped the ball letting Captain get away, right? Sure, I know Shaira is great and all, But, I mean, you're going to have to change your entire diet around her, man. I mean, good luck taking her out to breakfast and ordering some eggs, man. She's going to look at you a certain way. Or if you're out for lunch and you order some chicken, I mean, I just can't imagine how those conversations are going to go. Wings and all, right? My second takeaway was, I mean, I watched this episode and I listened to you guys talk about how the episode concluded, right? But it, quite frankly, just didn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, Despero and his followers all just became part of the planet's plant life, right? I mean, I guess you can't really do mass murder in a kid's cartoon, and I know you just can't really throw all those people in jail because who's going to watch them, but it just felt like a bit of an odd way to sort of wrap up the episode. But I guess I had to, and that was probably the best and quickest way to do it, right? My third takeaway, which is actually more of a question, right? So, how exactly was Despero able to take over and control a force as powerful as the Patar? I mean, this thing seemed to be all powerful and it was sentient. And then we just had Despero, who's basically some wandering beggar for the most part, was able to fully harness that power and bend it to his own will. I mean, none of that really makes any sense to me. Anyway, I mean, I thought it was an okay story. Full disclosure, Green Lantern stories aren't always my favorite, but this one was okay. I tell you what, though, it just absolutely baffles me that a corps that has the power to use their rings to create any construct they can think of, they always use them to generate matter weapons, right? Or energy weapons. Basically the equivalent of space blasters. I just wish they'd sort of feature a lantern who has truly creative use of their ring. That would be pretty awesome to see. That being said, I give this episode 7 times that I went gaga over Katma's Princess Leia bikini out of 10. Good Lord, that woman looked great. Even though I did offer some Facebook feedback on time that you guys were able to read, I must admit that I missed my deadline and I got to take my punishment for it. Anyway, this has been Perry White, coming up short just a little bit, but I'm going to get back to work putting out stories for the Daily Planet. Great Caesar's Ghost.
I wonder what kind of self-punishment he inflicted on himself for missing the deadline.
I don't know. Maybe he'll let us know next week.
Yeah. He has to write with an old lead pencil. That's how he has to do his notes.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. He has to snail mail his feedback to us.
Oh, there you go. That's torture for us too, then.
Also true. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure he's got my address because I've had to mail him several things.
Yeah, exactly. We'd be on like the season finale, and he's like, "So here's my feedback for the season premiere."
Right. I know.
Yeah.
That would actually be kind of funny. Can you do that, Carrie? Because I would laugh. And I would literally read it and take a picture.
When's the last time you got a written letter in the mail? Like, that'd just be fun.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I think I was a kid.
Yep.
Cards, yes, but letters, no.
Cards, yes. Letters, no. Not an actual legitimate
no, an actual
letter.
handwritten letter. I'm saying Perry White's punishment, he has to send us each a handwritten letter.
I love it.
There you go. And it can be about anything. That would be fun. But as for him, like I think last week, Jeff, I think we talked about a little bit the whole idea of Despero being just a beggar in the street and how he got his power. Like that seems to be a lot of, whether it's a good guy or a bad guy, when power is bestowed upon them, it's because of the position they're in. It's like they're a good soul or good-natured spirit at heart, and whatever the power is seems to acknowledge and recognize that this person is down and out and has never had a chance. So the power kind of looks for that, because powers like that don't often naturally, go to, say, someone who's rich and powerful and already in control of whatever. When it's an organic type of power, they don't go to that. They always go to the people that are down on their luck or oppressed by somebody. Like that's the way it's happened for 100 years basically.
Yeah, Shazam is an example of that. There's a lot of examples of that. So
tons of examples. Yeah. So
yeah.
Speaking of, Harley, how about your quick rundown of last week's episodes?
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, because we had gotten exposed to a version of Despero on, what was that, The Flash?
It was the finale season of Flash for like 5 episodes or something.
Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. Just like to kind of get like more of like the comics origin. I mean, I kind of almost like had the same question, but of like, why was he in control of, Pytar and all of that. But it kind of seemed like, you said he was just going on like a walkabout, like off into the desert. He'd been banished, and then I don't maybe took pity on him isn't quite the right word, but it, gifted him with its power was kind of how I took it. And then eventually the power corrupted him as it, as it usually does.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was interesting. I do agree the ending was a bit odd with everything turning into trees. But again, you kind of mass murder of people in a kids show also kind of can't do that. So.
They just did it with a weird wrapping on it is all. That's all.
They sure did. Yeah. It's just everybody turns into trees. You just have a bunch of trees flying through space. That's not weird. Not at all.
No, not strange at all.
So I don't know. It was interesting. I was kind of sad that that they killed off 2 of the Green Lanterns though. So
yeah, that was a surprise.
I was a bit surprised by that.
Vaporized.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll hear again from Perry later at the end of this episode. Let's get into our ratings for this episode. What did I say? 11 and 12. Let's get into that.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
All right. So I gave this one 8 alter self battles. I liked so much about these episodes. I enjoy the chance to see other realities. I enjoyed the battles and the Elseworlds of it all. My biggest complaint was it needed to be longer. I wanted more time to flesh things out. Maybe if we had had 2 full hours with no commercials or 3 episodes, it would have been better because I wanted to see more of the reality of how things were different and what the Justice Lords wanted to do with our world too.
Yeah.
And so I just, it left you wanting more of that and felt like some of the stuff was like crammed in to finish things up within the time slot. But overall, still a fun arc of episodes.
I totally agree with you. I think this was definitely a story that would have been worthy for a season finale when they did a 3-parter. And then really stretch it out because they're facing against themselves, and that should be a bigger story, and it should not end so quickly and so easily. Because basically they just agreed, shook hands, and agreed. All right, go home, and that was it. Like there should have been more to it. So yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, I gave this one 8 alternate realities, and I mean, I think all of us, we do love that alternate reality type of thing. I mean, we all loved the Fringe TV show. I mean, so much of what we have watched is either like time travel or alternate reality or some combination of those 2 things put together. So inherently, I'm gonna like something like that. I mean, I kind of felt like from the jump, I was like, okay, something is off. Like you could tell. I was like, they all look different. They're all acting different. I was like, even like in the very beginning, like, which we'll get into, but it was, it was definitely interesting. And I was like, okay, we're clearly in an alternate dimension, and then they call that out. So, but yeah, it did seem like it came to a little bit like too easy of an end for how big they were kind of building the Justice Lords like up to be. I felt like it should have been a little bit tougher to take down, and kind of the same thing with like the Doomsday fight. They could have done, I feel like, more with that. That was a little disappointing to have that come to a swift end, if you will. But overall, I mean, it was a good arc. It was alternate realities, which are always kind of fun to play with, pitting your characters against each other, which makes things 10 times more difficult because it's very difficult to fight yourself when you know exactly what you would do. So, but yeah, overall, it was fun.
I'm right up there with you guys. 8.5 alter egos. And like you already just said, I always love alternate worlds, alternate dimensions, alternate reality type of storytelling. And this idea was just fun. An almost exact copy of our world, except the heroes make different decisions. And the main one being the big question, and one that was even explored in the new Superman movie. And that is, what if superheroes decided to use their power to rule the world? That's what people were scared of Superman might be doing. And in these episodes, it just shows how that might go if the Justice Gang thought that way. And how well did it go for their world when they took over? Their world was enslaved, basically. and you had no choice, and there was a lot of rules and a lot of new laws to follow. So it is a fun story to tell. I've always enjoyed it, and it's, I mean, I don't know how many TV shows have explored this. I mean, even in The Flash, we had Earth 2 and their version of it. Even in Sliders, that old sci-fi show.
Oh, yeah.
That's about sliding into every single episode is about sliding to an alternate Earth. And how is that Earth being run? Like, there's a whole 5-season television show based on that concept. So,
yeah,
it's fun.
One of my favorite kind of comics on the Marvel side was Exiles, which was like a team of heroes, basically mutants, that got pulled out of their reality at the point of death, and then they went into other realities, basically saving the day. So you had like Blink and Morph and different versions of like maybe Wolverine or different ones working together and going through these different alternate realities, and they're at this spot outside of reality. And so yeah, there's lots of different cool stories that you can tell with alternate realities. So
very much so. It's almost endless.
Yeah, which is what makes it fun.
Which makes it fun. Exactly. All right, let's get into our talking points for the show.
Gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the universe.
All right, our voice cast and characters.
Yeah.
So we've got Lex Luthor back, Clancy Brown. We've got Lois Lane by Dana Delaney is back. We've got Doomsday, voiced by Michael Jai White of The Dark Knight, Spawn, Black Dynamite.
Yep.
And then, so most of our audience is probably familiar with Doomsday, Kryptonian science experiment, leads to the death of Superman in the comics and most media.
Yep.
So
That's where I thought they were going with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was very disappointed by that.
Yeah. So we've got Snapper Carr back, Jason Marsden, Step by Step, Full House, Goofy Movie, the Man on the Street reporter, which was, he was created back in 1960, and he's kind of been like a sidekick helper to the Justice League, but he's also had powers off and on, and even was Our Man for a little while.
Oh, wow.
So that was kind of interesting. So that's something I didn't know until doing a little research. But
I did not know that either.
So we had the President, voiced by Brian George, who played Alfred in a ton of the animated DC movies. He's been in The Expanse and several Star Wars games. We've got the Joker back, Mark Hamill, and we've got Poison Ivy, voiced by Diane Pershing, and she has voiced Poison Ivy in many, 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 many of the animated movies. Like, she's the go-to person for Poison Ivy. She's also played in the cartoon Mighty Mouse and in She-Ra. So she's been around for a good while. And Pamela Isley, doctor turned eco-terrorist, created in '66. And Batman's enduring enemies and rogues, and so she's pretty, very different version in this one, thanks to Soups. But anyway,
cool. There's a good rundown. Again, lots of guest actors. I mean, Mark Hamill, he had 3 lines? Like, it was. There's some very
even
quick
that.
scenes, but
Yeah.
he probably just phoned it in even from there. Like, you don't have to do much for those. But all right,
especially
cool.
not that version of the Joker.
No, he didn't even do his laugh or anything. It was very, very subdued.
Yeah.
Let's get to our show. Talk about the episodes. League becomes Lords.
Yes, indeed. So again, we enter mid-battle as Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are at the White House, and Lex is president.
Now I knew we had the alternate heroes coming, but even in this opening, I was like, wait a sec, this is our world, isn't it? Like, did we miss some time? Has time jumped ahead? Because we knew Lex was slowly working towards entering politics, but all of a sudden he's here. He's already the president. I'm like, golly, are the episodes out of order again? What's happening? But
I had similar thoughts, but it was along the lines of this feels off. Not like in a bad way, but just like in a this is possibly not quite our reality off.
Right.
Because it felt again, yeah, it felt like, hey, we just went from here A to Z without going through any of the letters in between. So something's not quite right. And then even the demeanor of the characters, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
A little bit different.
Yeah.
In this, Lex calls Superman his accomplice and lays all the issues on Superman because he won't kill. And then we see Superman, well, we don't see it, but it happens off screen, but Superman kills Lex, and it changes him and everybody around him because of it.
Well, what was interesting, because you saw, like, they're having an argument, and Lex is pretty confident, you're not going to do anything, you're not going to hurt me, and Superman's like, well, you know, maybe this time, and you see his eyes starting to flare up, like he's powering up, and then the scene switches to Batman and Wonder Woman fighting soldiers in the hallway, and Batman's like, do you smell something? And Wonder Woman's like, oh my god, and she knew what it was, and she runs down the hallway, and we, like you said, we never see it, but she sees that Superman blasted Lex Luthor, and obviously he's dead. There's a huge burnt hole in the wall of the Oval Office. And that's when we realize he actually did it. He actually killed Lex, and he fried him. I mean, that's what the smell was.
Yeah.
So you're thinking, holy, okay, what switched in Superman's heart that he was willing to kill in that moment? Because up until that point, this version of our heroes were still pretty much the same as what we have here. So why did this Superman decide in that moment? What do you think pushed him to that point of, I'm done with Lex, time to kill him?
So I have a question about that. We'll talk about it later, but we know that their Flash died.
Yeah.
And I am wondering if that happened beforehand and this was, basically last straw for Superman, or if Superman broke and then in the process, Flash had reservations about something, and because he hesitated, he got killed. So I kind of wonder, because it's never laid out the reason why Flash died, but I wonder if it happened before and Superman was like, okay, I'm drawing the line here. So I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I definitely got the feeling that it was the straw that broke the camel's back, for sure. Now, what all led up to that, I don't know, but I definitely got the feeling that Lex said the right things and pushed the right buttons, and Superman finally broke.
Yeah. Well, I think it was the expectation, because Lex was sitting there saying, I know you won't hurt me, you won't do anything, even though you want to, you just won't.
Right.
And I think Superman at that, in that particular instance was just like, I'm tired of you thinking you know me so well. And
yeah, I know. Yeah, he snapped. I mean, literally, he snapped.
Yeah.
I think the weight of, but I think that wouldn't, had the Flash not died, I think the Flash had to have died previously, because had he not died, I don't think Superman maybe would have snapped in that way. Maybe Flash's death was Superman's fault in some way. Maybe he hesitated and didn't kill someone, and then the Flash died.
That would be a very plausible scenario, for sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, they don't tell us. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll come back to that point in actually just a minute. But the other thing I found interesting is when Wonder Woman breaks in there, she sees what happened, and she looks at Superman with a little bit of shock. But then they both just stand in the window looking out into the White House's, whatever, gardens, and they both just look like they're okay with it. They for a moment, there's a moment of shock, but they're like, oh well, I guess we move on. It just seemed like they were immediately okay with what just happened.
I know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So we get a time jump here, and we've moved 2 years into the future, And the Watchtower is fully militarized. It's full of soldiers. And the Justice Lords are ruling over the entire world. The governments, including the president of the U.S., are their puppets. They're not allowing elections. Everything is just basically locked down, and the Justice Lords are over everything.
Yeah, it was interesting to see, like, every single decision had to go through the Justice Lord first. They had to ask, can we do this? And if you even question why they say no, then basically your butt's fried.
Exactly. Which is wild. I was like, okay, this has gone the complete opposite way. They've gone from like upstanding heroes that are protecting the citizens and their, I mean, you know, democracy essentially at all costs. And then to this reality, they've now gone the full other way and become like the authoritarian regime. It's crazy.
It is. I mean, like you said, the Justice Tower full of soldiers. They're fully armed, and the soldiers are like, you know, Martian Manhunter's the one on duty, and the soldiers are like, hey, we've got this alarm going off again, and Martian Manhunter's, that's not worth it. That's not worth it. Oh wait, we got somebody protesting. Quick, send Hawkgirl and Green Lantern down there. Deal with the problem. It's just like,
I know. I was like, ooh, okay, that's kind of an odd thing to be like concerned with. Policing, but anyway.
And we get to see each of the members, and they now have different costumes, and each are more warlike and just very different from what we're used to seeing.
But you know what? I love the new costumes. For me, it's always fun to tweak the uniforms, especially when it's been the same uniform for 50 years. It's fun to tweak it with new ideas if they work. I mean, there's been some awful ones where someone's like, hey, we're going to rewrite Spider-Man and give him a whole new look. And you're just like, oh my God, no. Go back to the original. Nobody likes it. And that has happened a few times. But when it works, it can be so fun. And I think every single character in this episode, their uniforms were just a really neat alternate version. It was just cool.
Yeah, I liked all the alternate version uniforms. I will say, I think the Green Lantern one was my least favorite.
Oh, yeah?
Because it just kind of looked like he ripped off his sleeves. And so, like, I mean, like, I get it. They needed a way to, like, differentiate it and to make him look kind of, I don't know, if they all looked more modern, like, and sleek in their design, and his looked a little bit more post-apocalyptic, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it had almost like the wrong feel as well that the other ones did. But most of them, I will say, I did really enjoy, like, the upgraded costumes. That was pretty cool.
That's fun.
So, Green Lantern and Hawkgirl are missing Flash, and you know, I wondered here, is he dead? You know, we find out later that's true, but you know, here we're like, what's going on with Flash?
Yeah, you weren't really sure, and let's just pick up the Flash conversation here, because I don't think they ever explained at all in these two episodes what happened to Flash. It's just something happened to him. He's no longer with us. I know in this discussion with Green Lantern and Hawkgirl, they were talking about Flash they mentioned something along the lines of he got very depressed with the situation and the way the world was at, and he just walked away. They did mention something about that. He just walked away, and then it leads you to believe, did he possibly commit suicide because he's so unhappy? Did something happen? Although Harley, you had that idea before. Maybe Superman hesitated and Flash thought something happened where they did mention that he walked away. And I wonder if some bad guys went after him and he didn't protect himself and Superman couldn't get there in time. Something else happened because he walked away from being a hero. That's all I remember. I'll have to go back and look at it. But there was a line in there about him getting depressed and walking away from it all. So.
Yeah, and you know, it's part of my favorite scene, but like we hear about, you know, the talk about losing another one.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a loss that affected them all, each one of the Justice League members, and so it was pretty profound, his loss. And so, you know, that's what's so cool about this series is like his loss made a huge difference, and even though we don't know what it is, they did a good job of letting us see the impact of that loss,
the weight of that loss. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely illustrated like the impact and the weight and like the fallout from it. But yeah, I had like completely forgotten that one line of him like walking off and giving up. So yeah, I don't know, but I definitely got the impression that he was definitely dead.
Well, he says at the end of the second episode, when he's talking to Batman, he's like, so you guys lost your Flash, and look what happened to you. You guys, that tells me that Flash was the moral of the group, the morale. I mean, the morale of the group. And he goes, and he says that must be what I am to my own team. So, in essence, if Flash was the morale of the team, and you take that away, now there's nothing stopping the team from changing and becoming different or on the darker side because the morale is gone.
Yeah.
True.
Right?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So they talk about Batman sitting things out, and he's still a part, but he's not like active. Like he's still choosing what to be a part of, just like he is in our reality. But that's because he's up to other stuff, and we'll figure out what that is later.
And I found the most is that the two Batman were probably the most similar. Batman seemed like he changed the least.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think at one point he says there's not much to do around here, so that's like why he was tinkering down in the Batcave.
Yep.
So
exactly.
I think he's just bored because he really thrives on being a detective and like solving those mysteries and like having more meat on stuff. And with, I mean, what we find out, come to find out, is just Superman lobotomizing everybody is not much of a challenge for him, is what it seems like.
Yeah, I was telling Harley off air that I've been catching up on the Wonder Woman line, and two of the comics that I read today was a team up of Wonder Woman and Batman, and in it he's trying to help her figure out this mystery, but like he gets injured, and while he is like incapacitated, he's figured out like 4 crimes, and he's like, when I get back to Gotham, the Riddler's gonna have a very bad day. So like, you know, like he's always working, and so like in this reality, like he's got nothing to do, like you know, so there's
no crime. Yeah exactly. So,
exactly. Superman's taking care of all of that. There's nothing left.
That's it, which we'll talk about that point again later, but
I know it'll come up.
Funny,
I didn't want to
it's just Batman. I just found it interesting that he changed the least, and we find that out, which we'll probably talk about when he ends up facing off against each other, which is part of one of our favorite scenes tonight, that they're both still thinking the same thing, the same emotions, the same history is affecting them both exactly the same, and that's why they're not very far apart.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, we'll bring it up. But speaking of, you're reading comics, I'll just throw up for those that are watching, this is what I'm starting to read.
Oh, wait. Oh, that's cool.
Thundercats. So
yes.
I have the comic shop.
Didn't know they did comics.
Well, this is brand new. A few issues in now. Because Thundercats there's a bit of a resurgence happening now, and there's the rumors of them finally trying to cast a live action movie and get something going.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like literally my childhood.
Exactly. So there's a big resurgence. This is a brand new comic. And this comic, as far as I know, I haven't gotten it. It's supposed to continue the story. It's not telling the story from the beginning. It's like a continuation, I think.
That is very cool. I probably don't remember enough of the story. I was like a kid when that was on. But
I went to my comic book store because I had them put them on hold, and I haven't been there in months, and I went in there, I'm like, oh my god, the first 8 issues are out, so I got 8 issues of Thundercats to read. Like,
that's awesome.
Okay.
Nice.
So there you go. That's the first comic I've bought in years, because I just completely stopped. I didn't want to spend my money because even this one is ridiculous.
It's a lot.
This one's $7, $7 an issue. Are you kidding me?
$7 an issue?
Yeah,
they're not much better digitally. I do Wonder Woman and Trinity through Amazon, and they're like $6.
and that's
$6,
American, so it would
$7.
be $10 up here. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
digital.
and that's why I stopped.
I know. I do go digital these days. I try to get the collections because they usually like kind of discount them a little bit, and when they put the whole stories together. Yeah.
This one, I don't know if Thundercats will get that kind of treatment. So, plus, I love the artwork.
Yeah,
and,
it may not.
The artwork makes a difference. So
I mean,
That's
you guys,
true.
can you just see the Shatara shrine behind me right there?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I love Shatara. So, there's a small little collection of Thundercat stuff just behind the chair here. So, anyway, side
cool.
tangent back to Justice League.
So, like we talked about, down in Smallville, at Smallville University, there are people protesting the lack of elections. And so Green Lantern and Hawkgirl head down, and the people are literally afraid of them. But Green Lantern says it's better that way, so that things are better the way that it is now.
Yeah, so that I found also interesting because when they land, everybody stops the protest immediately and turns and runs. And they're out of there. And it's like, okay, what have these heroes done to regular people to put fear into them? Other than what we already heard Harley say, like if Superman is running around and lobotomizing everybody, there's got to be, it can't just be that. There's got to be more things happening. Like, is Green Lantern beating the snot out of people? Is Hawkgirl smacking people with her mace? Like, what are they doing that people are so scared of them now?
Yeah, I mean, because this is before, obviously before we know anything that's going on. Like, we don't get this reveal until like several scenes later about what Superman is truly doing. And so, yeah, that stood out to me is just that, she was bothered. Hawkgirl was bothered by the fear in people's eyes. And Green Lantern, I think this was in the scene, he was like, well, that didn't seem to bother you before. And like, so it was just a very like interesting exchange. Right. And I think it does like bring up that point, and it really jumps out, like your comparison to the Superman movie with the Justice Gang and what they were doing and how they were taking things down, and just like they were just doing it like the quickest way possible with like no regard to anything. It was just like, how do we neutralize this threat as quickly as possible? And that's how I kind of feel like the Justice Lords have, like, I feel like that's exactly what they've evolved into. I wonder, because I don't know enough about the comics. Was there a Justice Lords and a Justice Gang, or was like maybe the Justice Gang based a little off of this? I don't know.
So basically, they said that there was so this was kind of new. They wanted originally to do a Justice Gang, but they decided that they wanted to do something different and to do a different type of tale from the background that led into the Justice Gang. Okay. So they kind of took that, and then they took the costume designs were for something earlier, and they kind of adapted those too. So it was kind of, we've grown beyond that, so let's do something different. So
okay. So the Justice Lords, this was like a unique take for this show. Mm-hmm. Okay. Based loosely on the Justice Gang. Interesting. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I can see that.
Yep. Cool. All right. So I'm calling this next section Frosty Reception. So Superman has dinner with Lois, but things are not going well between the two of them. And I was wondering if we were going to see Lois at all, because Superman kind of seemed really close to Wonder Woman in this, the first start. And I'm like, oh, okay, so there is a relationship with Lois, but it's not going well at all. And she calls him out, saying, like, the world's in lockdown, there's no free speech, and you're ruling, not protecting.
Yeah, so there's some disagreeing here. And we know Lois, her history is to question everything. She wants the answer on the story, but she's not allowed to ask anything. She's not allowed to do anything. Mm-hmm. In fact, we find out that she's basically a prisoner in their own apartment. Like, she's got armed guards stopping her at the door from ever leaving. So what kind of relationship could they actually even have? Like, is Superman forcing her to be with him still? Like, how much ruling is he doing? Like, how far did it go? And it was just crazy to see, because he was letting her speak her mind, but he didn't really care because he wasn't really listening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we did not delve into the animated incarnations of like Superman and Lois, or like really we were rating Clark and Lois's. So I don't even know if we would have covered, like if this would have been counted, because there's no Clark. It's just all Superman, but like zero chemistry. Like he had zero regard for her. It felt like I mean, it felt like they just fought all the time. And I almost feel like she's humoring him in a way, just because what else can she do? She's literally being held prisoner. And like, I don't think he would murder Lois Lane, although I don't know, maybe this version of Superman would have. But it was just very telling of the world and like how far gone like Superman, like how far away from like the Superman that we know that this version had become.
Yeah, very far. And it's funny, in only 2 years it took him to get this way.
I know, which is crazy.
Boy, I mean, I guess when you decide to let corruption seep in, it doesn't take long. Corruption happens fast.
Well, when you start to view yourself as like a god and as the person who knows best.
Yeah.
I mean, power corrupts absolutely, right? As the saying goes.
Yeah.
And this is the perfect telling of the idea that the movie was trying to, like, what if Superman decided to use his powers to take over?
Exactly.
What's going to stop him? Nothing. None of us can.
Nothing.
Our tanks, our missiles, nothing can stop him.
Exactly.
And now he's got a group of friends that are just as powerful, so might as well just bend at the knee and kiss their feet, because what else are we going to do?
Yeah. You just got to do your best to stay alive at that point.
Yeah. Don't what was that guy in the scene with the Batman there? Don't argue about the price of your restaurant bill.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That one did stand out to me as well. That's so funny.
So, in this scene, Batman interrupts the meal, and he's calling for all of the members of the Lords. And we discover that Batman has discovered that there are other worlds out there, and they've discovered our world's Justice League. And they're kind of watching basically where the Flash and Lex are both alive, and they're watching them battle. And, they're like, okay, so, what are we going to do?
Well, and this falls back to what you were saying with Batman was bored because he got no crime to fill, so to take care of. So he's using his intellect to design something, and he designs a portal to other worlds, to other dimensions. And this is what he's come up with, and he's able to peer in and see what's going on. And so I thought, man, like, is Batman that smart that when he's got nothing to do, he can put his knowledge of science and stuff to this type of level? Like, that's crazy to me. He built a portal to another world, and I don't know. I was going to say something, but I'll save that thought to the very end, because the way the episode ends is where this thought kind of takes place. But yeah, he built a portal. Crazy.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, so it's wild because they, are going to use this portal to help, quote unquote, the League. But he questions if that League would accept their type of help. And so that's, an interesting part we'll get to here in a little bit. But
yeah, well, because they've been a certain way for 2 years, and their type of help is basically ridding anything that's bad, right? So we got to get down there. We got to help them kill Lex. That's what he's thinking. They're fighting Lex. It looks like Lex is putting up a good fight against all of them. We better go help him and kill Lex. That's what we did here. Let's go do it there too.
Yeah, either that or, what we come to find out Superman is actually doing, which is not really what I think like anybody was expecting. They keep alluding to this different way of doing things. We clearly see that they're kind of like ruling the world. And so it was kind of weird because it's like, okay, like what is actually their version of help? But then at the same time, it's like they're not, I didn't think they were looking to like help anyone. I didn't exactly predict what ends up happening, but at the same time, I was like, they kind of just want to like take over, right? Like that's like their whole thing.
Yeah. But our league actually takes down Lex, and then Jean from the Lords comes over and says, "Hey, we're having trouble, and our dimension is collapsing, and we're the center, and we need your help." And of course, our league says, "Okay, sure, we'll help."
Right.
But they walk directly into a trap.
Well, I mean, the portal opens and they're watching the fight, and the fight ends, and that's when he comes through, and he's just like, "Hey, like here I am from this other world." And our league is a little bit surprised first because they've already dealt with similar things, so they're kind of like, they were a little bit hesitant, and they actually had to, talk amongst themselves. Do we trust him? Do we want to go help? And they eventually were. It's almost like they took it to a vote. Like, yeah, okay, I'm in. Sure, I'll in. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And they do go over there, and they just walk right through. But in that moment, they're looking at him, and they're like, well, he is just like our John, so we should trust him, right? Because why would they be any different? It's alternate versions of ourselves. They weren't obviously thinking the potential of what could be on the other side. So,
yeah, I definitely thought they were a little too trusting, but I did not see this part coming. I thought they were just trying to lure them out of their dimension and like
so they
maybe
could take over.
but maybe like brainwash them or something. I don't know. I didn't think they were literally going to like lock them in a box and torture them. That's not where I thought that was going.
Yeah.
Well, and this is the funny thing. Which one of our feedbackers is it, Dad L or Comedy Kev? One of them is always complaining about how everything comes down to electricity. And what happens here? It's an electrical box,
electricity.
and they all get electrocuted.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to say that's Dad L, but I could be wrong. Might have been Comic Kev, actually. I take that back.
I am willing to bet $100 that he's going to bring that up in his feedback.
Okay, well then we'll know who it is, which one of them.
But what I found interesting in this trap, and we not only see it from our Hawkgirl, but we also see it from the Lord's version of Hawkgirl, that she can actually withstand the electricity, because when she's getting electrocuted, she can then transfer it just to the mace, so the mace is absorbing all the electricity, and it allows her to break free. And then what I'm thinking is that probably is powering up her mace.
It is. That's one of the powers. Is it takes in the energy and it can shoot it back out. So
that I found really, really cool, and I was going to bring that up later. But both versions of Hawkgirl show that this can happen, and I kind of love that because, when you look at Hawkgirl, like, well, she's not really super powered. She's got wings, but everything is in her mace. And this just kind of shows that, hey, while all these superheroes like Superman and Wonder Woman are easily taken down by electricity, she is not. She is tough enough that she can withstand it and fight back, which I think is cool for Hawkgirl.
Yeah, it's got its advantages, and you're right. Yeah. We'll see that again later.
Yeah, but I mean, even through all that, she escapes basically, or knocks the door out, but she gets taken out, like injured, and basically put in a coma.
Yeah, she gets blasted by something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, they did something. Someone shot her, didn't they?
Yeah, someone.
But I can't remember.
Someone did something.
Yeah.
Someone shot her. I can look that up while I move on to the next point. Something happened to her. It was it took her out, and so much so that she was in a hospital later with a oxygen tube up her nose and stuff. So.
Yeah. Hospital.
Yeah. Prison.
Mm-hmm.
So back on our world, Doomsday arrives, and Earth's forces are no match for him, of course. And this is when the Justice Lords arrive, and basically they each go after him to take him down. They're very powerful, and each person's kind of battle with him has little to no effect. And so this was interesting, seeing him being taken on by the entire league and not just Superman.
Okay, before we go to that, I just looked it up real quick. It was actually Green Lantern, point blank, opens wide open with the ring and blasts her right in the face.
Wow.
And that's what sends her flying back. And Flash is still awake, and he's kind of going, no, like, how could you to Hawkgirl? And then they're all knocked out. But yeah, it was Green Lantern, which is interesting because we know on our world they're starting to have a bit of a romance. So,
well, it sounds like on that world they are too, because John talks about like, how do you, she asks, how do you sleep at night? And he goes, you very well, and so
yeah. But for our Hawkgirl to bust out of there and see Green Lantern standing there face to face, and he just blasts her down.
Yeah,
pretty crazy. So anyway, that's what it was.
Yeah. Well, now we also, that also shows why everyone's afraid of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right. So
no holds barred.
Yeah, exactly. So back to Doomsday. So it was interesting where this Doomsday comes because it's just a meteor coming out of the sky. So, and it's already the Doomsday that's pretty amped up. He's got the spikes coming out of his shoulders and everything, and he talks. Like, this sounded like an intelligent Doomsday.
Yeah.
Not a monstrous Doomsday. He's just intelligent. It's like, okay, which version is this? And where did he come from? And has he already gone through the dying 100 times so that he can no longer be killed by anything? Like, where in the process of Doomsday become Doomsday is this version of him?
Yeah.
It seemed pretty advanced, not gonna lie, because nothing had an effect on him. So, which means nothing was really killing him.
Yeah. So is this a Doomsday from our past that we just never got to witness yet? Like, I have no idea. I mean, they didn't even call him Doomsday. His name was never mentioned.
Wasn't it? Oh.
They did not say it at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know, but he's, the look of him, the power set. I mean, it's pretty undeniably Doomsday, but
but still, again, just to throw him in the middle of all of this is kind of interesting. Like, that's where I kind of question a little bit, like, why Doomsday? He's a massive story.
Yeah.
For Superman, why would you just throw him in the middle of this other story that's happening that's already big enough? It was kind of a weird decision, I thought, storytelling wise.
And so maybe that our Superman had contact, but I kind of doubt it, because the Justice Lord Superman, like, didn't like act like he knew who he was. So it's like, so he evidently that version hadn't made it to his version hadn't made it to Earth either. So yeah.
So who knows? I mean, there's been a few different versions of telling the Doomsday history, and I mean, most recently with Superman and Lois, he's been there the whole time, and our Clark Kent witnessed what happened to him to turn him into Doomsday. So this one coming out of space like a meteor, it's like, okay, where's it coming from?
That's a little bit more close to the comics, though. What they did in Superman and Lois totally took the origin of Doomsday and Bizarro and turned it on its head, which I love.
Well,
I always think that's fun. Like,
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons that I do love it when they do that in the shows. But I do feel like this was a little bit more traditional introduction of Doomsday, if not Doomsday himself being traditional.
Yeah, but the intelligence sound too. Like, he sounded like a, like a full-on, well-trained, went to Harvard type of guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I was not expecting.
Yeah. Getting to see him and Superman go toe-to-toe was fun, too. But then at the end, we have Superman basically lobotomizing him. And we're like, what?
Yeah, like,
we don't know about the other reality, of what's going on there. This is our first experience with him. I'm like, I thought it was like, is he dead? No, he's not.
No,
So,
like, it was a very focused eye beam.
yeah.
And even at that point, because it, up until this moment, it's showing us that this is Doomsday already evolved pretty far down the line in his own path, so nothing's stopping him, but yet Superman can still heat vision him. He had no protection against it. So
Yeah.
True.
It was crazy, and they took him down because he just drops to his knees and he's just like he's just completely a vegetable, right?
Yeah.
Which is scary.
Yeah.
that Superman's
and that's what was like bizarre too. Like I was not expecting that to happen. So
Yep. Crazy.
Lois and the reporters begin to question the lords here about their response and the new costumes and everything that's going on, and this is so different. And this was kind of interesting to kind of get the mixed experience from that group of reporters there.
Well, there's perspectives, because a couple of them were questioning him, why'd you do that and how'd you do that? But the one reporter in the back, he's like, well, it's about damn time. Like, he was happy to see them dealing actual justice and taking things down. He was happy. So there was some perspective there. And in all the stories, comic books, TV shows, movies, real life, there's been always people that are just waiting and wishing for them to actually do more than what they do. Like, why do we keep imprisoning these people and letting them escape? Just execute them, just hang them, just whatever. Like, there's people that think and feel that way. And a couple of these reporters felt that way. And I just love the one question, the very last one. The one guy's like, hey guys, like, what's with the new costumes? And Superman's like, we just decided we needed a change. And it's legitimate. Like, it's a good enough answer that they're not going to question who these people are. And it's like, yeah, we needed to change. And okay, people are going to accept that. And yes, it just, even though that moment was only like 5-6 seconds long, it was a great little scene.
No, yeah, it was a great scene. And I did particularly love Lois and her reaction. It felt like it was very true to character. So that was good.
Yeah.
And we get a quick scene of Lex watching, and he knows this is not his league.
Lex is smart enough to recognize. Yep.
I know.
Well,
that
it's
was
funny
crazy,
that
though.
he's watching it on the prison TVs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny that they let the prisoners watch all of this stuff while it's happening out there in the real world, because you think if they see something that gets them excited, it's gonna cause a riot.
So back on the Justice Lord's world, we have their world's Batman watching over the League members, and they are each locked up in cells that basically negate their powers.
Yeah, so Batman in this their version of prison. I don't know if that was Arkham or that was obviously were they up in their Watchtower? Like, where was this prison? They didn't really say, did it?
I get it's not.
I don't know.
It's not Arkham, but it's not on the station either. I think it's on the ground somewhere, but I'm not sure. So
yeah, well, I mean, we see Batman and Flash locked up, and it was pretty. It was pretty cool to see when Batman starts talking to the other Batman, and he's like, "Don't even try. I've already thought of everything you're going to think of."
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of fun.
That was pretty funny. I did really like that line.
Well, it's funny because it's also the same voice actor too, so he's basically talking to himself.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. Of the two of them, and it's my favorite scene. But like, Batman basically says, like, we did what you and your friends couldn't do. We did what needed to be done, and then this is where Flash basically pushes back and said, well, like, what about Hawkgirl? And this is where we get that instance of, like, she's in the hospital, she's getting care because they're upset with their loss of Flash. So
Yeah.
That's where we first start to find out. And Flash doesn't really clue into what he's getting at, but Batman knew exactly what had happened. He'd already got enough information. We didn't see it, but he figured it out. That there's something going on here for sure.
Yeah.
So Batman tells Flash, like, I'm not gonna figure my way out of this because I can't. And so Flash has the idea, which is really cool. Like,
yes,
he's struggling, and his heart rate goes flat, and so Batman runs down there to go save him, but it's a trick. And Batman's in prison because, like, Flash sped up his heart so fast that it looks like he's flatlining.
Yeah, and I got this part of my favorite scene too, because when our Batman questions him, "How'd you do that?" and he's like, I didn't know I could do it. Like, I had no idea, but I had to try something because you're not able to. And it's just, and these are, again, remember how I've said way in the beginning, Harley, like I said, there's so many little moments in the show that really shows you how powerful Flash can be and the cool things that he figures out he can do. Because we never saw this in the Flash TV show, the live action show, but in this animation, they really, really, I don't know if evolve is the word, but they just show us how much versatility Flash can do with his speed abilities. And being able to speed up his heart so fast that it seems like it is cool. Like you said, Jeff, it's just a really neat, like, wow, that's cool. Like, Flash there's so many things he can do that we've never seen in any other instance of storytelling for him.
Yeah. No, I like that. I thought it was smart, and it showed, him like using his head instead of, just running around and trying a bunch of different stuff until something actually worked. But, I mean, that's like kind of what he was doing, but he at least thought it through, and it did work. So, he got Batman down there. And I think this whole scene is what led me to believe that their Flash is dead, even if they don't outright ever say that.
Well, the reaction of Batman, as soon as he saw Flash flatline, he just immediately like, oh my God, I can't let this happen again.
Yeah.
And he just was down there immediately. So
yeah, and I think it's a neat playback to Flash the other episode when he has to learn to slow his heart down in order to stop Flash time. So this is kind of the exact opposite of he's learning more control over his powers. So it's kind of cool to build on that.
It's really, really cool. It just makes me really appreciate Flash. What they do with him in this series is really cool.
So everybody is set free, and Batman is off to go find the portal alone. And the rest are going to go find the hospital that Hawkgirl's in. And I thought this was interesting. Again, this is another instance of he hasn't revealed his identity to everybody yet. And so this may be the process of him like being able to share, but like he is going after his Batman because he knows where the lair, the Batcave is.
Right.
So, and he doesn't want to yet give that over to everybody, even though we've talked about that Wonder Woman kind of knows now. But anyway.
I'm going alone. And none of them question it either. He's just,
interesting.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. But it also, too, when they're looking for the hospital, Flash is on the computer there typing in Flash speed, and he's and they basically only pulled up 2 hospitals, and they're like, she's not going to be in any of those. Like, think about who we're dealing with. Their hospital, she's in prison because she's a bad guy on this world. So, and they're like, oh, okay, we better go to Arkham.
And we get to Arkham, and we see Joker as a trustee there, kind of leading them around, and we see all the rogues in the prison there.
Two-Face was there.
And,
So who else we saw? Joker, we saw Two-Face. Was there anybody else that immediately popped?
I don't know. I'd have to watch it again.
That was Poison Ivy in the garden, wasn't it?
Poison Ivy in the garden,
She's in the garden.
Yeah, so it's just funny. So, but these were not the rogues as we expected them to be. Like we said, this was not Joker at all. He was very calm and collected, and But what surprised me, though, is that there was a riddle set up that they had to answer correctly to get access to the prison. And they screwed it up.
They gave the right answer, but the wrong person gave the answer. So because of that, there is an army of Superman robots released to fight against the Justice League.
So I got questions about this because I'm, first of all, a Superman robot, because Superman actually, like our Superman, says, oh yeah, I built these myself as well to protect the Earth for when I'm not here. What?
Yeah.
When does that ever come up?
So that is accurate to the comics. So there's actually I haven't read it, but I've seen like clips of it where Lois and Selena go to the fortress and are like having basically a bachelorette party for when because Selena's marrying Bruce, but there are two Superman robots there, and so it's like, so he does in the comics, he does have like these robots that can fill in if he is off world or whatever. So
Okay, but my next question is, like, because I've never seen this come up, and yet our Superman here says, yeah, I built them too. So where are his? Do they just unlock?
Right.
Like, does he keep, or are they kept in like a, yeah, I'm thinking like on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., when Ada they're in their little charging module or something, But
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
they're robots. So what kind of power and abilities do they have? It just looked like they were throwing their fist around. They're just strong. I don't think they have his abilities, right?
I mean, it may be limited.
I don't. That's a great question.
That is a really good question, because I'm like I said, I've just seen.
I
little
think
bits
they were
and
just
pieces.
super strong because they didn't try to do anything else.
Yeah, that's true. It was more like they were trying to overwhelm by force,
Yeah, because
or like by numbers, than anything else.
Yeah.
right, because every character was able to deal with one on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like even Flash punched one out. So
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't, because if they started flying and shooting laser beams out of their eye, all that kind of stuff, I'm like, well, how does he? Superman can't build a robot to mimic his abilities unless they stole a bunch of Amazo's programming or something. Like,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
but
There's that.
Yeah.
okay.
In the Batcave, we see costumes for Batman, Robin, Batgirl, and Nightwing. So I thought that was an interesting
I
little.
missed that. Where was that?
So that's like at the very beginning when he's sneaking in. You see them
Yeah.
like in the glass cases.
Okay, I'm gonna go take a look at that. I totally missed that.
So I kind of wonder, are all of those people dead in this reality?
Yeah, that was my question too. Are they
Why are there
alive or not?
costumes there? Yeah.
It seems like not, since we never see them and their costumes are still theirs. So I don't know. It seemed odd, but yeah.
So when did that happen? Right in the beginning when he's first sneaking in?
Yeah, it's in one of those beginning scenes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yep, there it is right there. Nightwing, Batgirl, and Robin. Yeah, you're right. Well, and there's a bat suit, so it could be those characters are dead, or it could just be that's where the costumes are kept, because we've seen that happen before in Batman as well, where he's just got all these different versions of his costumes, and he puts on whatever one he needs for whatever scenario. So,
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
but cool, fun.
But in this scene, which I think we'll hear later too, maybe, we get a Batman versus Batman fight in the Batcave.
Yeah, fun, because they're virtually the same, so they're throwing batarangs at each other and whatever. But Batman realizes this isn't his cave, and he goes up and hides in the dark. And the other Batman, what I found interesting, the other Batman was like, why are you still hiding in the dark? Like, I've learned to step out in the light and let people see me and know that I'm something to fear. Like, so they are actually different in some way about how they've gone about their life now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. But it's always fun to see, two alternate versions of characters take on themselves, just because so much is still the same, like fighting style, decisions, all of that. So it's always an interesting exercise to watch.
Yeah. And that part, it will be coming up in my favorite scene, but we can still talk about it here a little bit. The fight's pretty even, and it's the Batman Lord version who says, because they're arguing over what ways to eliminate crime and what's the best way to go about it. And the Lord Batman basically says, I'm doing this because I don't want any other kids to grow up without their parents.
Yeah.
And that's when our Batman goes, okay, you win.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what he's fighting for on our world, is to stop the same scenario from ever happening again. He might not kill people to do it, but they're fighting for the exact same reason, and that's when a truce is called, which I thought was pretty powerful, and that's why it's going to be my favorite scene. It's a pretty cool moment.
Nice.
So outside Arkham, because Flash is dead, he can't go in there. He meets up with Ivy, and she's been lobotomized too. Like, you can see the 2 dots in her forehead.
That's when it really started sinking in, because we know Joker had the dots, Two-Face had, and then you started realizing a lot of the characters have the 2 dots. And you're just looking at her, and she's like, you know, because Flash picks a rose, because they told him you're not allowed inside, because people think you're dead here. Okay, I'll just... So he's chilling in the garden, and he picks a rose, and I love how the camera pans up and it says, "Don't pick the flowers." So that leads into the scene when eventually, you know, she goes, you're not supposed to pick the flowers, and he's like, sorry, I couldn't help it. It was just interesting the way she talks. She's like, "That's okay. I understand. It makes sense. I'm not worried," and you know, he tries talking to her, and she just had no care about anything.
Yeah.
You know, just, it's okay, whatever. I'm not worried about anything. I'm just doing my job. And then Flash takes off, and he's like, oh, I forget what he said. He said something about see you later or whatever, and she's like, okay, bye. Just completely out of it. And interesting.
Yeah. I mean, this is when it really starts to sink in that this is the new way that Superman has developed to take care of problems. So...
I mean, can you imagine the whole world being lobotomized to be mindless like that?
I mean, that's very crazy. Although I think in like real world science, haven't lobotomies been like debunked as like crap medicine?
Yeah. I mean, it was a you know, a big fad back in the day to like get rid of influences and different things, and people like, you know, it's been majorly debunked of like how bad it is on the people, and so
yeah,
it ain't cool digging into people's. I mean, even in a real world, like that's when you had the crazy asylums that the doctors would get away with all kinds of experiments behind closed doors. They were doing things like that to patients' brains, just picking them apart and experimenting. It's freaky. It's freaky stuff. And Oof.
So I mean, Superman killed Lex, and so he crossed that line, but he's not killing the enemies anymore, but he is like stopping them from you know, causing any more damage. So like he crossed the line and he came back some, but not he's still not the same. So
no, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in ultimate control. Everybody is basically answering to him. Yeah. Even the other heroes. He's in charge. Yeah.
Back inside, the League with Flash's help take down the robots, and Green Lantern finds Hawkgirl. But unfortunately, they find the army outside waiting for them. Yeah. And this is where we get a fun little scene, because Batman comes up and tells them to stand down, and we're like, wow, okay.
Yeah, well, first go back to the fighting the robots. This is where I thought it was fun, because they're all basically taking one out at a time, and there were some little comic elements into this, like in the scene before, you know, Flash is talking to Poison Ivy, and one of the Flash robots, or one of the Superman robots' heads gets thrown out the window, and it lands at their feet in front of them, and Flash is like, yeah, I gotta go. And she doesn't even care. She's like, then that's when she says, yeah, okay, goodbye. And the head is laying there, so she doesn't even care. And then there's another scene back inside during the fight, and I think it's Wonder Woman that punches the head right off of one of them, and the head goes flying across the room, and all we see is his head, and it's still talking as it flies through the screen. So I'm just like, okay, this is a pretty twisted humor, but it's actually really funny.
I did think it was pretty funny. I enjoyed the Superman robots being kind of like torn apart.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the army waiting outside, and the army's like, don't do anything or we'll vaporize you. I'm like, with what? You got tanks and rifles. What are you going to do? really people. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, and then when Batman steps in there and says, "Are you know, let these people go? They're my prisoners." And you know, are you actually standing up to me? Are you saying no to my direct orders? And Superman's like, "Wow, you really pulled that off there. Even I fell for it." And he's like, "Well, that is me. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not
we
your
find-
Batman."
Yeah, which was the big surprise. We're like, okay, you know, our Batman got to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But-
so this is when they head back to the Batcave and head back to their own world. So
Yeah, just like that, because Batman basically, in talks with our own Batman, he basically agrees, like, yeah, you know what, I'm just going to let you guys go to your world, protect the world the way you want to, and I'll stay behind. And it's just, and again, it leaves the question, well, he's got a portal to our world. What's going to stop them from ever coming again?
I think that's a good point. Maybe maybe he can talk some sense to them when they get back. Maybe he destroys the portal. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
an interesting question to consider.
on our world, the Lords have militarized the Watchtower, put guns and stuff up there. And so that was an interesting little scene there. But then they are going to go take down the Justice Lords, and Batman says, well, we've got to cross some type of line in order to take them down.
Yeah, because they're still, everybody but Batman is on our world. So,
Mm-hmm.
and they're
right.
pretending to be our Justice League.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like how they kind of left that open-ended. It was, I didn't think they were going to go to the same length as the Justice Lords, but I
Yeah.
was very curious and intrigued by what they would end up doing.
Right.
What their version of, quote, crossing the line was.
Right.
So the Lords hear that Lex has escaped and taken a prisoner, and so they head there, and basically the Lords, stand up to Superman and say, listen, he wants to do it himself. And they said, listen, things are different here. You can't do what you do on your world. And they go with him to the prison. So that's like the first little bit of like rebellion or standing up to him that we've kind of seen.
Yeah. Yep.
True.
But they arrive at Lex's cell, but it's a trap. They built the same trap for them. The electrical box there that stuns them all, except for Hawkgirl.
Except for Hawkgirl. She's able to absorb with the mace and bust out again, and then eventually frees all of them, and a fight happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, and this was a great battle when you each of them against themselves, and Wonder Woman uses the lasso to grab the bad Wonder Woman and start dragging her away, but then the bad Woman's like, well, yeah, I'll grab the lasso too, and she pulls back, and it's a tug of war, and they're pounding each other in the ground, and it's just it was a good fight. Martian Manhunter, they both turn into dragons and they're tangling up with each other. It's just, this is the fight we were waiting for. It's like, okay, what happens if they all go toe to toe with themselves?
Yeah.
And we see how even it is and who's got the better tactics and whatever. So it was a fun fight.
Flash even takes on Superman in this one.
And I'm glad you brought it up, because I was saving it. This is the Superman from the other world, and Flash is able to beat him, at least for a few moments. Flash comes at him with a super speed punch and takes him down. Flash beats Superman for a moment. Can we all just acknowledge that? Flash beat him in a fist fight.
There you go.
And Flash basically calls him out and says, you really don't want to hurt me. You don't. But it doesn't seem to work on Superman. He's kind of going beyond that.
Yeah, he kind of says, "Yeah, I've already dealt with this. And he looks like he's ready to break his face in." But I liked. This is Michael Rosenbaum voicing the Flash, and I really liked the subtlety in his voice there. He really got down to an emotional level, and the way he was talking to Superman, he's like, you can't do this. I know you can't. You've already lost your Flash. You're not going to do the same to me here. This is really, really good performance.
Yeah. No, it was.
And this is where our Superman shows up with Lex. And now we see where the line is crossed, because Lex has his gun back that we saw him, with at the beginning of the episode. And he basically zaps each of the lords with this power disruptor and depowers them.
So can we talk about that? Where did this gun come from? Who designed it? How does a ray gun blast temporarily disable superpowers? And it doesn't matter what powers or who it is, it disabled all of them. Like, explain this gun. Where's it?
So
comic book TV show?
Yeah. But where did it come from? Like, there should be a little bit of historical context to it.
I don't know. Like, he had it in the beginning of the episode, and so.
Yeah. But he also explains here. He says, "I wouldn't have been able to put it together without Superman's help."
Yeah.
So Superman helped him build a depowering gun, which is Superman putting a lot of trust into his mortal enemy, because Lex had them all dead to rights with the gun pointed at their back. He could have taken them down if he wanted.
Yeah. And
he actually is very human about it. He's like, well, a deal's a deal. Gives him the gun back.
Yeah. He does the right thing. I was shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is on par for Lex. Lex has always had a little bit of righteousness in him. Like if you really examine Lex Luthor, he's not truly evil. Like, there's a lot of him. He wants to help the world. Whether it's through politics, through scientific inventions, he wants the world to be a better place. It's just some of the power does corrupt him, and he wants to, be more of a leader at times or whatever. But at his heart, he wants his world to be a better place.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of that in Smallville, of that aspect of him. Yeah.
Yes. I'm glad you said that, because I started my rewatch on Smallville because our kid Allie, she brought it up. I have no idea where it came from, but she's like, "You have Smallville?" I said, "Yeah, I got all 10 seasons box set." She goes, "Can we watch that?" Really? When are you interested in Superman all of a sudden? Because she's a Marvel fangirl. And so we just started season 2. We've been ripping through it. And I freaking love it. I forgot. I didn't forget, but I'm realizing how good it was, and it still is good all these years later. It's still very relevant, and I mean, a little bit late 90s, early 2000s kind of, cheese when it comes to, the relationships and stuff. But it
was a WB show, folks.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's so good. Like, Chloe is just so irresistibly cute. Lana is just one of the most expressive actresses I've ever seen with her eyes. It's such a good show. Just so fun. So it's wholesome. That's my word for it. It's so wholesome. But anyway, I'll have to send in some feedback to dive into DC, because I know John's watching it right now too. So
nice.
Yeah, I bought the digital box set a while back when there was a deal, and so I'll watch an episode every now and then. But
I got all 10 DVDs, like DVD box sets, and they re-released them in Blu-ray too. And I have season 10 in Blu-ray, but I'm like, I'm not going to rebuy them all on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun to have, fun collection. But anyway, back to the show. So Lex, not only does he live up to the deal, like, it's interesting that Superman helps him build a gun, trusts him, and then makes a deal with him. Like, if you help stop these villains, you'll get a full pardon, and you can just go live your life.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And he does. And Lex holds a press conference, and everybody's questioning him, and he's like, you know what? I just might turn to politics this time.
Yeah.
And President Lex, here we go.
But it's great character development for a cartoon.
Yeah.
Like this relationship between Lex and Superman.
Yeah.
It's been around for 75 years. We all know it, but this is a cool new. It's almost like what Superman and Lois did. They took the story that we all know and advanced it to Superman in his 40s. This is doing it earlier in that timeline, but it's advancing the relationship between Superman and Lex, which I just think is really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is it for our discussion. We don't have anything else to say. That's all our points for tonight. Let's pause about the pause for our ad break, and we'll be back in a little bit with our favorite scenes.
Shape out and eagle!
And just before we get to that, there is something we changed on our podcast. I don't know how or where you guys are even going to notice the change, but you guys do know that we have ads on the show now that sometimes play at the beginning of the show, the middle of the show, at the end of the show. It just depends on where advertisers are buying airtime from us. But we did also add in, there's a new way that the show can make a little bit of money. And when these episodes get released on Spotify, I think it's only Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
When they release our episode, maybe you can explain a little bit better, Jeff. They will also advertise another podcast, and it could be anything out there. It could be they could be talking about mushrooms growing in manure. I have no idea. It's another podcast that'll just be advertised alongside our show, saying, "Hey, here's another show you might be interested in."
Yeah, so a lot of the bigger podcasts, the Talkville podcast and a couple other ones are doing this as well. So basically, like this week, you would have gotten one that was a bonus, which is a basketball podcast about some WNBA stars. And so basically, they're just saying, okay, here are other podcasts out there that you might want to check out. And so if you glance at it, just in there, it may have our album art and then say bonus. But like if you look at it, if you click on it, it will have their album art and it will tell you, like, you know, we're not endorsing this, but, you know, these are just podcasts out there that you might want to try. So.
Right. So that's the key thing. It's similar to the ads you might hear on our show. The podcasts that are advertised alongside of ours aren't ones that we've decided on or anything that we've chosen. It is not in our hands. It's just based on your listening choices. They think you might like this other show. It has nothing to do with us. So don't think, oh my God, how can the Legends recommend this show about mushrooms and manure? Like, that's so offensive to me. It has nothing to do with us. Don't.
Yeah. Just like we don't choose the ads, we don't choose these podcasts.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just another way to get a little bit of extra money, and you know what's really funny is Libsyn sent me an email saying, hey, congratulations, here's your first payout for the bonus sponsored podcast thing, and guess how much it was?
5 cents.
Yes.
Seriously?
Yes. We made 5 cents off of our first however many podcasts we advertised. But that was only in a week. So I'm imagining over time, the more and more episodes we release, and since we're releasing one a week for months and months, that will eventually slowly build up.
We've hit the big time,
Yeah. So, anyway, but like I said, you actually have to go to Spotify or have to go to Apple Podcasts and look up our latest episode to see what the other one is that they're recognizing. So it's not really going to interrupt your listening pleasure. It's not going to interrupt anything. It's just just a new way of advertising online somewhere is all. Yeah. So anyway, there you go. There's that. So favorite scenes. X-Force, you're up first.
Okay, so I call this one Don't Want to Lose Another One. So let's take a listen.
What are you looking at? Huh? Calm down. You'll appreciate this someday.
Yeah? I don't think Hawkgirl's gonna appreciate it too much.
That was an accident. She's in our best hospital now, and
I don't want to hear it.
Believe me, the last thing we want is to lose another...
Another what?
I think he likes you.
Must be my magnetic personality.
More likely, it has to do with what happened to this world's Flash.
You mean he's...
All this had to have been set off by something.
But to go this far, even over me...
It isn't that far from what we do, if you think about it.
I'd rather not. You figured a way out of here?
No.
Don't you mean not yet?
No. I mean not going to.
Yeah, I like that back and forth and between the two of them, so it's fun.
Yeah, me too.
That was good.
Have you noticed as the show is going along that these friendships are developing? Have you, like, even this little talk between Flash and Batman, they know each other a little bit better now.
Yeah.
And that's why Flash is like, wait, don't you mean like that they're getting to know each other? We're actually witnessing these relationships developing as we go, which is cool.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't get that kind of depth in a lot of cartoons. Cartoons are generally pretty shallow, so I just think it's neat that this is showing that.
Cool.
All right, Harley, yours.
All right, my scene is called Bat Conscience.
Think about it. A world where there's no crime, no victims, no pain, and no choice. Who elected you anyway? Who elected you? The problem with democracy is it doesn't keep you very safe. It has other virtues, but you seem to have forgotten them. I didn't forget. I just chose peace and security instead. You grabbed power, and with that power, we've made a world where no 8-year-old boy will ever lose his parents because of some punk with a gun.
That's all it took.
Yeah, I mean, but that's his weakness. That's always been his weakness. And so I felt that was very fitting. I mean, it's tough to argue with yourself, right? When you're right, you're right.
You know yourself pretty well, yeah, with that. Yeah.
I know.
No 8-year-old will ever go without his parents because of some idiot with a gun. Like, it's, yeah, that was a gut punch if you ever saw one.
Yep, it was.
Oof, yeah. All right, I'm going with one called Flash Saves Batman.
What are you doing?
Trying every possible combination.
91939.
How'd you know?
They're the numbers I use. How'd you get out?
I sped up my heartbeat till it looked like it flatlined.
I didn't know you could do that.
Neither did I, but I had to come up with something if you weren't going to.
I couldn't. Not with him anticipating everything I could ever think of. But who could anticipate you?
I like that Flash has a little smile on his face. Like, I like that. That was a compliment, Batman. Thank you. It's just cool. Again, it just played on what you played earlier, Jeff. It's their relationship developing. Like, Batman's actually being somewhat friendly here. Like, he's usually very dark and moody, but he's actually got a lighter sound to him in the way he's talking to Flash.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Cares about him, so it's cool. Well, I'm throwing in a bonus one here because we talked a bit about it, but I wanted to add it in here at the end of the show as a really good point to talk about. And it's a 2-part clip that I put together, and this is when Flash is battling the other Superman, and you guys talked about it. Flash thinks Supes won't kill him, and then he's wrong, and then the fight ensues. And then later, when our Superman is with Flash, and he's like, I knew he wasn't going to fall for what you're trying to do, so we had to figure something else out. And then Flash is like, you're not the Boy Scout out after all. And Superman's response is hilarious, and I love that it ends with that joke. So here's that whole sequence, and we can talk about it.
Can't do it, can you? I'm the last piece of your conscience. And this is the one thing you'll never do.
I've done a lot of things I thought I'd never do these last 2 years. One more won't hurt. I knew you wouldn't be able to change his mind.
Yeah? How?
Because I've felt the same temptations he has. They're pretty strong.
So you're not such a Boy Scout after all.
Never even made it to my first merit badge.
I love it. It gives us a little insight into Superman, because we all talk about him being the Boy Scout. That's always the joke against him. And he kind of is just saying, you know what? enough of that. Like, I never even finished Boy Scouts. Like, quit labeling me with that.
That's really funny.
So I just appreciated that scene, so I wanted to play it here. But yeah, good stuff, fun stuff. All right. If you would like to support the show, and we sure thank those that are still continuing to do so, it's just one other little way to help the show make a little bit of money to cover the cost of running it, because prices of everything are continually going up. So we appreciate all you guys out there. Mm-hmm. If you want to join in, this is how you do that.
If you'd like to support our podcast, you can do so at our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/tomorrowslegends.
Don't keep it to yourself now. Come on, baby, talk to us. It's feedback. Yeah.
I'll fix that. You guys won't even notice it. And for some reason, that clip played super quietly, and I had to increase the volume halfway through it. So nobody will know, because I will edit that. In fact, see, if you're watching the video, I'm going to edit point right now. Feedback, bumper, quiet. Because this is how you run a podcast. So behind the curtain. All right. All right, let's get into feedback. We're going to kick it off with a voicemail from Comic Geek Kev.
Good afternoon, legendary lords. So last week I complained about only having half the team. This week they made up for it by having 2 teams and full teams on both sides. This episode literally had my favorite things from comics, alternate realities, and characters battling foes who have similar power sets, in this case, literally themselves. First of all, the Justice Lord costumes are awesome. I love everything about them except for Hawkgirl's helmet. It looks like a bad haircut. In fact, it kind of looks like Wonder Woman's hair. But the rest of them are perfect. The Superman costume looks very similar to a costume used in a comic series called Earth 2 from, I want to say, early 2000s. Great series. Highly recommend. The artwork was phenomenal, and the story was really good. I will admit, they got me in the beginning. Superman lasering Lex. I was like, what? Of course, we know something must be up, but for a second, it was shocking. But let's back up a minute. Zero reason Superman couldn't have just stopped Lex with super speed or zapped his hand. Yeah, I get it. We need the death to move the story, but suggesting there weren't other options, I think shows that the Superman is really not like ours. Also, I wish they had given some more detail about what happened to their Flash. Anyway,
yeah, us too.
The Justice Lord's Earth is quite a place. They tell the president what to do and basically seem to have their own army. They become authoritarians of the highest order, right down to squelching free speech. When they put down this protest at Smallville, I was kind of hoping they would make one of the characters someone we knew, like Pete Ross or Lana Lang or something like that, even though neither one would be in college at this point. But I just thought it'd be cool to have some kind of connection to Smallville there to show the difference. Sometimes I think Batman is given way too much credit as a genius. This guy invented first a way to monitor other realities and then whips up a machine to get there. Seems a bit much, but again, kids won't bat an eye at it. Get it? Bat an eye? So we see a pretty cool battle between the League and Lex, and then apparently Lex is taken away still wrapped in Wonder Woman's lasso. I mean, does she just go back and pick that up at the police station later? The League meets the Lords. The Lords lie, trap the League in a box, and take them all out with, yep, you guessed it, electricity.
There it is.
Which seems to affect everyone the same way. Let's forget about Hawkgirl and her mace for a moment. Electricity affects Superman and Wonder Woman in the same way it affects Batman and Green Lantern. You would think at least Batman would have insulated his costume at some point.
Oh, good point.
Anyway, enter Doomsday for some reason, who seems awfully intelligent and just wants to control. Okay. I assume they just needed a major threat for the fake team to take on. At one point, fake Superman is down and Lois goes to him. She seems completely not to notice that he has a completely different costume on. I mean, at least she does notice that that he had lobotomized Doomsday and that was out of character. So there's that. So the League is in shackles that controls all of their powers, I guess. And the Batmen have an interesting conversation, and I just want to point out here the costume again. I really liked the Batman costume and the way even the black part of his mask is just a little different in shape than our Batman. Mm-hmm. It's really, really cool. The fake cool. Batman almost lets it slip that their Flash has died, and I'm not sure why they would try to keep that under wraps. And how weird is it to see Batman, our Batman, just kind of give up? He sounded like he decided he couldn't defeat himself. Flash proves maybe he's not as dumb as everyone thinks and outsmarts fake Batman. Literally used his concern about losing another Flash against him. That is called strategery. When Batman gives Flash the lock combo, I immediately thought of his first appearance in Detective Comics in 1939, but I don't know what the first 9 signifies. Maybe I'm overthinking that. Maybe it's just some random numbers. I don't think so, though. While Batman goes off to find the portal alone, the rest of the team figures out that Hawkgirl is in Arkham. It was cool to see some of the big-name rogues out there. How much do you think Mark Hamill gets paid for a handful of words like that?
Yeah, I wonder, right?
And are they suggesting that Superman lobotomized all of them? At first, I thought they had some kind of devices attached to their foreheads, but then I remembered Doomsday. That's messed up.
Right?
It's Batman versus Batman and the League versus Superman bots. There's some cool scenes here, especially with the Batman in the cave. The team takes out the Superbots, and they find Hawkgirl. I laughed out loud when Wonder Woman knocked one of the heads off of a Superman robot, and as it flew across the room, it said thanks.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I just laughed out loud.
I laughed.
The Batman seems to come, or the Batman, I should say, seem to come to an understanding. But as usual, our Batman has a plan. Of course he does. Fake Batman may actually have too many feelings for his own good, and they're used against him for a second time. I'm guessing Superman wasn't the only one who thought that was our Batman stepping in front of the troops, but fake Batman lets them lets them go back, surely knowing that the rest of the Lords are not going to be happy about it. More zap, 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 but apparently electricity isn't so hard on the Lords. Finally, we get the epic team-on-team battle. You guys had mentioned last week, I think, that Green Lantern was using his ring mostly just as a pew-pew-pew, which I have also complained about. But here we get the two GLs fighting each other and using actual constructs. I would have liked to have seen a little more variety, but it was still cool.
Yes.
Also, Stewart hesitating before trying to take out the fake Hawkgirl. Dude, that's not her. That's not your girl. The two sort of dragon Jeans, Wonder Woman taking out her doppelganger with a tiara, Flash fighting Superman, all great stuff.
Yeah.
So the League has to team up with Lex and his power disruptor. So now they're all permanently depowered, I guess? The Justice Lords?
Good question.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I mean, what happened? Well, they just never let us know what happened after that. Superman raising the flag was a bit on the nose given the Justice Lords, what they were doing on their world and what we're experiencing now. But that's a discussion for a completely different podcast, and I won't go there. I would love to have seen the transition for the Justice Lords, though. Did they start as the Justice League and change their name? Were they always called the Justice Lords? What really happened to Flash? Was it before or after Lex got zapped? Did I miss something? That's always possible.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Wonder Woman looked shocked when she saw that Superman had killed Lex. How was she and the others convinced to become these authoritarian overlords? The rest of the team just kind of went along with it? Stewart? Really? Did the League send them back to their world? What happened on their world when they got back? Obviously, the cartoon isn't going to get into all that, but I feel like there might be another medium that could do this story and do it really well.
Fan fiction, Kev.
Shall I say, do it justice? Like maybe a comic book. I'd buy that. There's plenty of crime syndicate stories out there, but that's not what these guys are. By the way, I saw the Facebook post where Bruce Timm addressed Stewart's eyes being green. That only works when Jordan, Gardner, and Rayner aren't around. Plus, I think there's two newer Lanterns also. They would all have the same issue. I can let it pass for the other GLs because they aren't human, like Cadma Tui last week. And we can say it only affects humans that way, I guess. I do love that he addressed it at some point. It makes me feel a little less crazy. Anyway, voice cast notables, of course. The usual suspects, Mark Hamill and Clancy Brown as Joker and Lex, and Dana Delaney back as Lois. I'm giving this one 9.5 out of 10 golden tiara knockouts. I loved it. Just a few minor quibbles, but I really loved it.
Yeah.
Ranks right up there with my favorite episodes. Until next time, this is Comic Geek Kev, turning the page.
Excellent.
Nice.
We could tell you loved it. Good. High praise and excellent points. Yeah. That was right. That the Superman head flying across the room saying thanks. That's what made me laugh so hard.
That was hilarious.
Good question though about are they depowered permanently? That's an interesting question. Because
I didn't get that impression. For some reason, I was thinking it was temporary, but it is a very good question because they did not tell us.
No, because, I mean, if they were, going back to their world means things will change over there.
For sure.
Big
It means
time.
they have no superheroes anymore.
Yeah.
Except Batman, I guess.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yikes. Huh. So Kev was is he an electricity one, or did he just mention it? We'll have to see what Dad L says. Coming up soon. Perry White is next.
Hey, Legends of Infamy. It's Perry White here, your only source with Justice Lord's propaganda, talking about a better world. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Wrong universe. This is Perry White talking about the only world that matters, the Daily Planet. All right. Without hyperbole, I'll say that this has been my favorite episode of the series so far.
Oh, wow.
We got into some pretty heady stuff here, right? I mean, safety and security versus oppression, and how the two often get confused. Talking about perfect timing, right? Especially after a previous episode where Flash brought up political and geographical issues and whether superheroes should abide by them or just do what they think is right. A Better World takes that premise to its extreme, and it's a meaty topic to explore, right? It conflicts me, though. As a reporter, my job is to hold people and governments accountable. So not only is it important that people in power do the right thing, it's important that we keep a watchful eye to make sure they don't abuse their powers, right? Putting all powerful people in charge and letting them reign unchecked is a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. That's why the interview scene in Superman was one of my favorites, right? And don't worry, I won't spoil it for folks who hadn't seen it. But it gave both characters pillars of truth from which to argue, and I thought it was freaking awesome. Gun to my head, I am Team Lois in that situation, though, right?
Yeah.
Even though taking action might be considered the morally right thing to do, doing so without considering the political and geographical ramifications could be just as damaging. Strangely, though, in the Captain America Civil War, which represented sort of the same sort of issue, I was Team Cap, who basically said, screw government and political lines, let's just do what we think is right. Like I said, I'm conflicted. But I do know this. This episode of Justice League was fantastic. I give it 9.9 Lex Luthor Superman team-ups out of 10. The only reason I didn't give it a 10 is because I wish it had been a 3-parter, which would have given more insight into how each hero decided to go from the Justice League to the Justice Lords in that universe. Anyway, that's all I got for this episode. Let me get back to reporting the truth for the people before the Justice Lords try to shut me down. Good luck with that. Great Caesar's ghost.
Very good.
Good stuff, Perry White. Yeah. So that's 2 out of 3. Really high praise for this episode. This is his favorite of the entire series so far.
Ooh.
That's some pretty top marks. I mean, it is good. It really does tackle some big subjects, and I think that's why it should have been stretched out over 3 episodes at a minimum to really explore everything that Perry was just talking about. All right, up next is Dad L.
Hello, Legendary Leaguers. It's Dad L here with my thoughts on A Better World. So the multiverse has always been big in DC lore, so here's another example of a multiverse story, and for the most part, thought it was pretty enjoyable. Though I did have one question. You know, the Justice Lord Batman was messing around with the dimensional portal there. Did we ever get a reason why he was doing that? It just seemed kind of random. Maybe I missed it, but I didn't really understand why he was tinkering around with that.
Just boredom, yeah.
I think that would have some purpose, but it really does. I don't remember it saying anything. Maybe it's just a plot device to explain nothing kind of scenario. So really the whole arc, depends on the morality of this universe's Superman and what he decides in that moment there with Lex. And that's always kind of been a big question, in these multiverse or elsewhere storylines. What happens to Superman if he goes rogue? I mentioned this before on the podcast, but there was a time where Superman gave Batman a kryptonite ring in case anybody ever controlled him or anything went wrong with him. Batman would have a way to stop him. But in this case, the rest of the Justice League, or as they're known, Justice Lords, goes along with it, and they become this totalitarian force. So I do like seeing the contrast between our heroes and the Justice Lord, and that final fight was pretty good. I did like the homage to Linda Carter Wonder Woman where she threw her tiara. Also liked the Justice Lord's costume design. I thought they were very different, and they kind of look, totalitarian, bland with the darker colors, but I thought the design was well done. And then just one more nitpick. this introduces Doomsday into this universe. I know he factors later on in the series, but, I've always been critical of when Doomsday is introduced into these, even the live action stuff, the cartoons, because to me it's just never done right. I was prime comic reading age when Doomsday first came on the scene in the early 90s. Now he eventually did change and grow different. I think could speak more, but I just don't like having this huge character in Superman's mythos introduced this way, and it just seems very nonchalant, especially at this point. So overall, I'm going to give these 2 episodes 7.5 heat vision lobotomies. Dad Al, last father of Krypton.
Nice vision lobotomies.
Yikes.
Good stuff, Dad Al, and great feedback as always, fellas. So we totally appreciate that every week after week. It's like the 6 hosts of the show, basically.
I know, I love it.
All right, well, if you would like to be part of the show and get your feedback in like these fine fellas did, you know what to do.
If you would like to be a part of the show, you can send in your feedback to tomorrowslegendspodcast@gmail.com. You can also reach us on Twitter @tomorrowslegends. We'd love you to join our Facebook page at facebook.com/groups/tomorrowslegends and become part of the community.
All right, Jess, take it away. Next week
is Eclipsed. Released by a soldier, an evil entity takes control of various people and threatens the world. Sounds exciting.
Oh, no. Can everybody do the Home Alone face? You're going to have to wait a while to see the video of that one. That was pretty funny.
Get a screen capture. What do you do?
Yeah, exactly. I will do that. Actually, that's a good idea. Screen capture. Thank you. Right in a note.
You're welcome.
Screen cap of Home Alone face. All right, guys. Well, glad to have you back, Harley. Glad all 3 of us are back together again. And
yay.
Yeah. See what this next 2 weeks is all about, or 2 episodes is all about. Sounds cool. What could the evil entity be? I have no idea.
I have no clue.
A ghost? A mystical power? Who knows?
I've read the summary, so I know some things. So,
all right. All right, everybody have a good rest of the weekend. This is The Flash signing off.
And this is Harley Quinn. I'm out.
This is X-Force 11. So say we all.
Tomorrow's Legends is not affiliated with CBS, Warner Brothers, HBO, or the CW. We're a fan-made podcast for entertainment purposes only and are part of the Cybercast Network. Be sure to check out our partner shows, The Mandalore and Dive into DC, covering your favorite Star Wars and DC Comics properties. Thanks for listening.